Boom. Ugh. Hey, chat. Hello, YouTube. It has been a good long while. I do apologize for that. I had been streaming on Twitch more, posting the VODs here, so you technically didn't miss much. Until recently, when all my VODs started getting copyright strikes for using copyright-free music. A different rant for another day. Today, we're gonna try to have some fun. Or at the very least, we're gonna be chill. Because I need it. Get the monster all over my hands. I do plan... I'm not wearing makeup, so you can't really see my eyes, but whatever. I do plan to stream here on YouTube on Fridays. I don't know if it's going to be every Friday or every other Friday, but a Friday stream and or video for the YouTubes. Monday, Wednesday should be Twitch streams, so if you want to watch them there. Should be the same all. There's not really much for me to talk about, so I will leave the just chatting. Get into the drawing. Because I have fallen behind. And we have a lot of work to do. Since I am really tired, we're gonna start off easy and just do the flats for this page. Ooh, spoilers. We're just gonna do the flats for this page, and then we'll move on to the line art for others. Maybe. I don't know. Hopefully I can stay awake long enough. Alright, let's stay positive, stay positive. So, as you can see from the YouTube side, I did get the webcam. I'm finally brave enough to use it. Now, last stream on Twitch, I've only streamed one other time with the webcam, and that was on Twitch, and I had, like, makeup on, so I felt really cute. This time we're just gonna see, because if I look disheveled and greasy, that's just the 2K camera not picking up the fact that my hair is actually quite beautiful. That's just what I'm gonna tell myself is, oh, I look so ugly. It's just a camera, sweetie. It's just a camera. You know the old saying, the camera adds 10 pounds. not have started this morning. What do you mean with the parrot? Parent, but you know. Does have white, but just on her chest. Yeah. You know, while I'm here, down here, I might as well as color her nose and mouth. To cut down a little bit on the back and forth. There. So, since I haven't streamed on YouTube in so long, when I tried to go live again, I just could not get anything to work for a while. Hey, Spearoid Games. Aw, my chat box isn't working. Oh, darn. It's set up for my Twitch, usually, so... Yeah, sorry about that. You're not going to appear on screen, but I can still see you. Spearoid Games. How you doing? I am tired in more ways than one, but we persevere. So YouTube changed their like interface UTI, or not UTI, what the frick am I thinking about? Their the way their interface looks. They didn't change it by much, but they changed it just enough to where I didn't know where anything was or how to get anything to work. Hi Waffles, yes. I did say on Twitch that I was going to start streaming on YouTube for streaming Fridays on YouTube. I don't know if it's going to be a permanent thing or just a every once in a while thing. No, that's why. But we're here now, so we might as well make the most of it. Never after you stream before, you just mainly post shorts. Hey, that's fine. There's a biblically accurate rock star. I tried posting shorts, you know, like clips of my streams and whatnot, and like making more like animated shorts, but for some reason I just cannot get that part of my brain to function long enough for me to figure out how to use my phone for making shorts. The only way I can post shorts is if I use the Twitch extension to post clips, but even that is, you know, pretty minimal. Might become a regular viewer. You know what? I might become a regular streamer. I've still posted, like, VODs and stuff on this channel for my Twitch. Like, at least I did for a little bit. And I did post a few new videos. I did promise a review, or not a review, really, a video talking about the Iron Lung movie. However, I wanted to wait till, you know, I got the chance to watch it again via like a DVD release, because we are getting DVD releases. So when I get the DVD, then I'll make a video about Iron Lung, because I want to watch the movie again with subtitles just to be 100% sure I heard the dialogue correctly, because I don't want to make like a half-baked video essay slash fan theory on misheard dialogue, because that's just embarrassing. So that's why that video is currently on hold. Hopefully I can think of something else to make a video about. It's another old Windows computer. Same price, but don't have the space. Better to watch the movie first. Oh, I did watch the movie already. I watched it in theaters. Well, of course you watched it in theaters. It's the only place to watch it now. Duh. But I did watch the movie already. I absolutely love that movie. I just want to watch it again before I make a video essay on it. Well, video essay. I should probably post that highlight I made of last stream where I talked about my first initial... I'm on the wrong... Okay, not so bad, but I'm still on the wrong player. Oh my god. Fixed. Number 1. But in the meantime, we draw the cats. We make the comic. We drink the monster. And we make the jokes. Okay. If you're curious about the comic that I'm currently working on, it is a Warrior Cats fan comic, loosely based on the book series that has been going on since the early 2000s. And I think it's still going. But it is, of course, an alternate... Not really an alternate timeline. It's the same timeline, but it's, like, focusing on a different group. My own creation. And it is posted every Tuesday and Thursday on DeviantArt, which is linked in the description. You're getting some slight spoilers if you want to start from the beginning. I would put a spoiler warning in, like, the description or, like, in my stream titles for the comic, but then again, I noticed most of my viewers, especially on Twitch, aren't even Warriors fans, and they don't even, like, read the comic. They just sit in there to chill, which is fine. But just in case you're curious, that's what this is, and this is where it's posted. It's also funny, I realized a lot of my viewers, or a lot of my readers for the comic, aren't even Warriors fans. They just found my comic and thought the art style looked cool. It's like, huh, interesting. I'm not upset or anything. I just think it's kind of funny that a Warriors fan comic is attracting the audience that isn't even a fan of Warriors. Which I honestly don't blame you. I left the Warriors fandom to make this comic because the books just pissed me off so much. There. How is everyone? Well, me personally, I could be better. I spent the past, like, 2 days, like 2.5 days, doom scrolling through the news, and that, I do not suggest that at all. Oh my god, don't do that. So safe to say my week has been ruined. I'm trying to reclaim it by just getting on with work. But it is an uphill battle. Okay. I said I was going to do the flats for this page, and then the line art for other pages. Because I'm not sure I have the mental capacity to do backgrounds right now. It takes a little too much brain power. Just a little. Alrighty, what page? This page. Okay. Just gonna put in this background. Wonder what's worse for your mental health? Months and months of negative news, massive amounts of porn. That is a genuine question. Like, what is worse for your mentality? Because they're both really bad. Scientifically proven, no matter who you at, no matter what side you're on, they're both really bad for you. But that's an interesting question. Because porn is an addiction. Negative news really isn't an addiction. Doom scrolling is. Doom scrolling is an addiction, or at the very least, it stimulates the addictive side of your brain. They're both kind of... An addiction is born out of a lack of connection, community, and positive relations. I mean, that is also scientifically proven. They found that by studying rats. Because they would get these rats addicted to hard drugs, and then they'd put those rats in a large cage with other rats. And then it took a while, but eventually that rat decided to not take drugs anymore. And then warned other rats to stay away from that little bin that they would get the drugs from. But on the other hand, when they took a different rat, same scenario, got it addicted to drugs, but then they put it in a large enclosure with all the toys, the bright colors, gave it a large environment. It stayed off drugs for a little bit, but because there was no one else to interact with, it went right back to the drugs. So they proved that addiction of any kind is born from, basically, loneliness. Now, that doesn't mean you should, just go get out there and make friends, because sometimes friends will encourage you to do other things. It's talking about healthy and a positive community. I am actually not going to do that background. I'm just going to have the ground and then a gradient of sorts. Same with this one. Okay, ground, just so I know where to put the dirt. Bush, land, bush. Actually, I'll do that with some shading. I think they're both bad for you. It also depends on how your personal brain chemistry is set up. I have a feeling that if they gave 4 people, and gave 2 the bad news and then 2 the mass amounts of porn, but they had different brain chemistries, some would affect them more than others. Because, if you already have, depression, anxiety, and all of that stuff, that negative news is not going to do you any favors. But see, I don't know. That would be worth studying. I've been trying to offset all the bad news by watching, some old Markiplier videos and people doing reviews of Iron Lung, because that's another thing I'm interested in currently. And it's funny, especially when they play Uno. Oh my god, I watched a bunch of different YouTubers play Uno the other day. It's amazing how something like editing choice, the way you edit a video, can drastically alter how, what am I saying? The difference between the videos, because once you see one Uno game, you've kind of seen every Uno game, except some people play it differently. But also, in these videos, the way they edit them can just makes each video stand out as unique. Also, hi already-ish. Welcome to the stream, back at YouTube, taking a tiny break from Twitch. Recently binged watched some how the internet humor has changed. Oh, absolutely. I'll watch old try not to laugh videos just to get away from the stupid... I don't even want to say it, because then I'll invoke the Gen Alpha, and they'll all come out of the woodwork and then be like, haha, and I'm like, oh my god, die. Your memes suck. Bring back these nuts, I swear, I miss these nuts. You know what's bad? When I miss Vine. Why did you do that? Why did you do that? You know what? New. You are in timeout for 10 seconds because of that. You do not do that in my chat. Okay. I am calm. Well, that's why. Oh, come on. I know how to draw. Is that an alt account? Marshmallow Muffin. Is that an alt account? You only got 10 seconds, man. Regardless, I don't care how old you are. I got my eye on you. I mean, at first it was funny. Maybe. By the time it took you to switch accounts, your timeout was already over. Like, the idea of it was funny, because, like, the fact that it meant nothing, or, like, didn't make any sense to, like, confuse the boomers, I thought that part was funny. But then anytime someone even does a hand gesture, or the numbers are even mentioned, then people would be like, huh, activated, like they're sleeper agents, like they're the Winter Soldier. It's like, longing, freight train. It's like, ah! Mission report, October 34. No, October, whatever. 34, what? I'm tired. Despite how much caffeine I'm drinking, I'm really tired. Physically and emotionally. You guys want to see something funny? Okay, I'll bring this up. Oh, wow, it's really washed out. Well, anyway, maybe if I try that. Ooh, that's really dark. But just to say, can you tell what this thermos used to be? Can you tell what this 7-Eleven cup, or this thermos I bought at 7-Eleven not even 2 years ago used to be? It probably wasn't 2 years ago because it is supposed to be a, oh, here we go. Shut up already, shut up! Of course it's a cup! I'm trying to ask you what the design was supposed to be, you asshole! Anyway, it's supposed to be a Detective Pikachu. I keep going the wrong way. A Detective Pikachu with Ludicolo. The camera's inverted. I'm trying to figure out how to get the... With Ludicolo on it. This is supposed to be Detective Pikachu. But you can't even tell anymore. I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm sorry chat's not popping up, because it's supposed to be my, Twitch. I know. So when did Detective Pikachu came out? When did Detective Pikachu come out? Because that's, like, says in theaters May 10th, but I don't remember what year that was. Because I bought this that same year, because, we were visiting my sister in Seattle, and there's a 7-Eleven right next to her house, so we just went there, and it's like, oh, buy a cup and you get a free refill. I was due one more free refill, but, the QR code is gone. 2018. There's no way. Pre-pandemic? Pre-COVID? Detective Pikachu 2019. Still 2019. Yeah. And it's 2022. It's 22. Another thing that makes me want to throw up. This June. This summer. Will be the 10-year anniversary of my graduation. "10 years out of high school and I'm still living with my parents." That's worth drinking to. Anyway. Let's draw some cats about it. Let's draw cats in peril. And I know this foot is jank. You don't have to tell me. It feels like 2020... The thing with 2020, it feels like it just happened, but it also happened a lifetime ago. It's so weird. Same thing with my graduation. It felt like it just happened, but it also happened a lifetime ago. Nothing wrong with living with them old people. I'm gonna tell them you said that. I mean, yeah, in this economy, living with your parents, that's like the best option. Because I've seen what millennials are going through. They can hardly afford housing. They're working like 3 jobs just to stay afloat. Where have all the good men gone, and where are all the gods? Where's the streetwise Hercules to fight the rising odds? Isn't there a white knight upon a fiery steed? Late at night I toss and I turn and I dream of what I need. I need a therapist, I need a good doctor, I need a general practitioner, I need an orthopedics, I need an orthodontist, I need a good paying job, I probably need a car. I don't want a car, but I need a good strong economy. Not gonna happen. Like a year ago, it was like, oh look, my first furry character. Now 90% of what I trust furries. That's the way it happens, man. I remember when I first just started drawing furries. Like, official, with the label of them being furries, not just anthros. And that you start with one, especially if they're like an open species. Like a star dragon, or a protogen. Because, not a star dragon, excuse me, a Dutch angel dragon. Because that's what I started with the open species, and then I just went crazy, and now I own so many characters. Not just from creating them, I have also adopted a lot of designs. There was a time back when I had money where I was genuinely, grossly addicted to buying adoptables. But I gave them art, and I gave them a good story, a good redesign. So it's not like I was just hoarding adoptables. And I was tipped extra. Because I know PayPal took a cut, so I always made sure to pay extra so they got their asked for fee. Is now 20 years old. Your Gaia online account. Oh, man. Hi, Snowy Prince. Yes, we are live. We are alive. I guess that counts for something. It's brutal out here, man. I haven't bought adoptables in a long time, and PayPal has been taking a bigger and bigger cut every time, because I've noticed I sell adoptables as well as buy them, and whenever I sell adoptables, I'm like, okay, it's like $3, and I get the fee, like, and I got $2.30. I was like, there's no way they're taking that much of a fee every single transaction. What if you only send $1? What's the person gonna get? 2 cents? It's like, what is that? Oh, but they take less of a fee if you buy the subscription. Oh. Their greed sickens me. Should I do adoptables? I'm gonna be rich in no time. Hey, Be careful with that mentality, because I had that mentality as well, trying to sell adoptables as a get-rich-quick scheme. I have so many characters that I just have not sold. And I just have designs in a folder that are still for sale on my toy house and my DeviantArt, but no bids. There's a lot of times where I've had adoptables for so long, I just said, you know what? Cash or trade. People are more willing to trade characters than spend money, which I understand. In fact, I've done that several times. I've said, hey, I have these characters in this folder, if any of them interest you. And we've done trades that way. But you do, like, you gotta be willing to bargain. And be willing to accept that you're not getting that time or money back. And that you're just gonna have to just take the L. Now, unless you do, like, a bunch of, like, if you know what species is popular, or if you do seasonal adopts, so you're like, here's a Halloween-themed adopts, like a lot of people do, then you might have a better chance. I just don't do seasonal stuff. Because I don't like it. I don't like to. Like, I tried to do commissions a long time ago. I'll admit it was a get-rich-quick scheme because I was a broke college kid just trying to afford community college. That's how broke I was and still am. Can't afford community college. But some people make it big. And I don't want to discourage anyone from trying. I just want to let you know. You're gonna fail more than you succeed. Indian tradition called carnival. Horrible loud music, dressing up children allowed to drink alcohol. Oh my god. And people say Americans are loud and rowdy. Y'all have carnival. Sure, we have Mardi Gras, but that's only like in one city. We don't celebrate, that's not a nationwide thing. Even though I wouldn't mind attending a Mardi Gras just to, you know, like, see what it's all about. The problem is, I think it's in, like, Louisiana, and I absolutely hate bayous. Mostly because of mosquitoes and the humidity. I can't do humidity. I can't do hot and humid with bugs. I can't do it. Like, maybe once, if I'm wearing, like, if I get citronella injected into my bloodstream, maybe I'll consider going. Or if someone I know is already gonna be there and they, like, know the ropes. Because that's, like, I think the best way to experience a new culture is to have someone on the inside who already knows the deal. Because if you just go by yourself, A, that's probably not a good idea. And B, you're not going to know where all the spots are. You're just going to know where the tourist traps are. But then again, it is harder to have, like, friends everywhere. Or at least you can, like, talk to people who have been there before and be like, alright, here's the dirt. Don't go to this booth, they scam people. Like, okay. That's where it's good to watch travel vlogs. Honest travel vlogs. Just tell you the Dutch are louder than you guys. I know, we just have that reputation. is actually down here. I don't know why I put it up so high on her chest. The one downside of, like, taking a mental health break, or, like, just a break from doing any sort of creative project, when I come back to drawing comics, it's like I forgot how to draw cats. I forgot how to draw my own characters, and it's just, huh? What? Like, because this year, or last year technically, I went from working on an animatic to working on a comic. These are completely different projects. I know a lot of people say animation and comics are pretty similar. I am one of those people that say that. But now I know for sure that animation is almost nothing like comics, because I actually have to be considerate about what the line art looks like, because this is not gonna be a frame that's only on screen for 2 seconds. This is a frame that's gonna be on the page for all eternity. This is the final shot. This is the keyframe. So just going from an animatic to a comic, that was an uphill learning curve. Like, all my muscle memory was way off. So, this year, let me bring it up. For my yearly plan, when I do my animation... Oh, you really can't see that, never mind. When I do my an animated video again this year, it's gonna be in September. Like, the entire month of September, I'm gonna work on my next animatic music video. And then October, I'm gonna do fall illustrations again. And then November, December are gonna be my, my break months, where I'm just gonna be working behind the scenes sketching. And then in January and June, officially back to comics. So hopefully I don't have to immediately switch gears to 2 completely separate things. I'll have fall illustrations on the in-between to help me get back into the, okay, yeah, these are comics, not animations. I actually need to spend my time on them. 2 hours per page. Not 2 hours per 30 seconds. And that's because I'm doing an animatic. If I was doing like an official animation, like 24 frames per second on 2s, oh my god, 2 hours would barely be 3 seconds. Which, with all due respect, animators are insane. Y'all are crazy. Why y'all be doing that to yourselves? Y'all masochists, I swear. I didn't hate the process. I just have a much greater respect for animation now, more so than I already did before. But my goodness. And then you see these big corporations that, like, refuse to pay their storyboard artists or their animators a good livable wage, and I'm just, excuse you? Would you rather do their job? If you're gonna cut their funding, you should get down from your high horse, sit in the chair in the studio, and do the work with them. Then you get to decide their salary. But no. Most execs don't even have basic artistic talent. Animatic go brr. It really was. This is where my strong sense of justice comes into play, because I think if you're gonna dictate a person's salary and how much their work is worth an hour, you should know what their work is. You should be willing to do the job yourself. Of course, the only real way... There's no way to enforce that, it's just a personal philosophy. I do understand that. So, when I start my own animation studio, every job that we have at the studio is something I've done already myself. And anyone who decides, like, to join, like, if you're gonna dictate salary, you're gonna do the job. And then if it turns out you actually like that job, well, guess what? You're hired. Well, that's the thing with indie. You're not just working one job like you would in a regular, like, in a... I hate to say regular studio, because now indie is becoming the regular. But, like, you know what I mean. In like, a... executive, that should I say, executive studio, you do the one job. Typically. For indie, you probably, like, most people are doing multiple things. Like, specifically with show like Far-Fetched, the creators of the show are not only the writers and they also voice in it, but Ashley is also the cleanup artist. So she did the concept, the designs, the script, and is in charge of cleanup, and also does animation. I don't know if she does a lot of coloring, but I know she kind of specializes in cleanup. And she's also a voice actor. She's the voice of Zooble in Amazing Digital Circus, and that kitten is not the right size compared to the rest of his siblings. Rock is a big boy. Save. Coloring is so boring without a good podcast or something in the background. Yeah. This is why live streaming animation and comics is a little bit harder. Especially when I was doing the animatic, because it was mostly just me being like this. Just the entire stream. Like, y'all remember. Y'all remember. Some of you were there on Twitch, and I was struggling to be entertaining, because most of it was just me being... I don't know what I'm doing, but hopefully this looks good after I'm done editing all the frames together. because I don't have an animation program. And I know there are free open source animation programs out there. I know. I just like Medibang. Okay. I'm living. I saw one of your latest videos. I don't know if it was your latest video, but you were talking about indie animation, and you made a point about indie animation not having to do, not like, we should stop doing pilots or just focusing on pilots so much. And I do agree with you for the most part, because the point of a pilot was like proof of concept for the studio to greenlight the show. If you're the creator, greenlight the show and just get on with it, because people get so wrapped up in the pilot that when the show comes around, they either want to tell a completely different story that's like separate from the pilot, or they just make the pilot and then never make the show because they spent all their time just thinking about the pilot. I kind of like what Amazing Digital Circus did with their pilot. It's still a little bit of a iffy on pilots, but their pilot was episode 1. Because it ties in directly from 1 to 2. It was the pilot because it was the first episode on the air. First episode posted. It wasn't like with Lackadaisy, where they have the pilot, and then the show is going to take place much earlier in the timeline. So when I finally get around to doing my animation, my pilot episode is actually going to be a movie that leads right up, its end leads right up to the main show. Especially with my Cosmic Castaways story, because the way I had it in my mind, the main story is gonna be about this pirate crew. And when I imagined the story, the main story taking place, they're already a crew. They're all together. So for like a pilot to introduce people to the lore, I'd make it a movie that introduces the newest member of the crew and how they joined the newest member and how they joined the crew. And it's gonna be, I imagine it being kind of like a parody or a reference to Treasure Island, because the story is kind of referencing Treasure Planet, which is referencing Treasure Island, so I thought it'd be funny. I think pilots should be treated differently in the audience. Someone's a green light, not the studios. It's to see how... Yeah. And then set up these Kickstarters. I get that. It's just some pilots, I am a little bit sick of just seeing pilots everywhere. When I know, like, the official show is either going to be completely different than what the pilot promised. Same thing happened with Hell of a Boss. Oh my god. I watched the pilot and thought, this is hilarious. This is what I want. Bring it on. And then when the show came out, it was completely different. it had nothing to do with the pilot. And I was just, huh? Oh, darling, what happened to you? Busy, overcooked. Oh, absolutely. I think there's such a thing as a show being too hyped. Or like you were just banking off the hype. Like, oh, people like this one thing from me, so they'll automatically like this other thing. It's just be... No. Not really. I enjoyed Christine from Stephen King. I could not stand Joyland. God, I was halfway through that book and not a spooky thing happened. I was waiting for the spooks. So I thought, yeah, Joyland, it's about horror, and the cover had a screaming lady on it. So yes, horror, get scary, and then halfway through the book, not a damn thing happened. Not a dang thing was happening. Now, unless it was just a story about a summer college kid trying to get his life back together, then fine, by all means, let's read that book. But I was expecting Christine from Joyland, and I wasn't getting it. Because Christine was horror. Slow burn, but still horror. Hi, Sketch. Bringing back to the YouTube streams. Some Fridays. I don't want to make promises I can't keep, but yes, some Fridays. Maybe not every Friday, maybe not even every other Friday. But should YouTube have a stream, it'll be on a Friday. So we can kick off the weekend with hopefully some good vibes. Or me screaming at chat, because they keep bringing up godforsaken memes. We're talking about how we're talking about indie animation. Specifically how there are pilots everywhere. Because even though, like, I'll sing far-fetched praises because I really like the idea of that show and the music in that show because, I mean, the show follows an indie rock band. I absolutely love indie rock. But even then, they're doing a pilot, and then the official show is going to be, it's going to take place much earlier in the timeline. Which I understand why people do that. You gotta get people interested in the story, but at the same time, it's just... Yeah, why can't the pilot just be episode 1? Or heck, let's have a movie. You make an animated movie, which is like 2 episodes, and then get the TV show rolling. That's kind of what I wanted to... I know it's not the best way to do it, because a movie is a much bigger project than a singular animation. But, at least if no show comes of it, a movie exists. Instead of just a pilot with the promise of more to come. Because even if it, like, your show dies, or like your series dies after the one attempt, at least you have a movie out of it. And then even if a show doesn't happen, you could at least maybe say, okay, if you guys don't want a show, would you like another movie? Or like just a few shorts? Because then you can at least keep it alive in that regard. Or like, here's a movie and then we turned the main story into a comic and then get that animated. So, I don't know. It's just, I've seen, like, if you go, like, indie animation on YouTube, you just see pilot, announcing for a pilot, casting call for pilots, need animations, need animators for pilot, and then there's... I know animation takes a long time. I do understand that. I animated myself, and that took a long time. But it's like, I feel like we need to commit. We need more of a commitment, because people are focusing, they're giving too much, I don't want to say faith, because that's not the wrong... Too much credit to pilots, rather than what the end goal is, and it's to have a fully realized show. And they're not, there's nothing to show for it, you know? The reason why I haven't started announcing really anything, I tried to, and it was like, no, this is not gonna work, for my animated series, is because I haven't finished the script. Once the script is finished, then I'll start with the storyboarding and whatnot. Yes, it's gonna take me a heckin' long time, but then people know, once the animation starts, the story's written, it's ready to go. All we need to do is make it. And that would be my promise to the audience. It already exists in words. We just need it to exist, in color. I still watch those anime pilots from 2018. Yeah. Still love the pilot. No way you can cram so much information in one episode. Some stories need longer time than 20 minutes. Exactly. We need Michael Kovac for half of the voice cast. Half-bakes don't pay. Yeah. Everything yourself but the voice acting. Pay the actors at least. Absolutely. Like, take a shot every time you see Michael Kovac in an animated pilot or a series. Take a shot. Is he like the Frank? Is he now the Frank Welker of indie voice acting? I only have one series in mind where I would kind of like Michael to voice a character, but that's just, but it doesn't need to be Michael. Michael! Well, don't get me wrong, I think Michael Kovac is an amazing actor. There are other voice actors out there. And I think he's got too many fans. That people just see Michael every time he voices a character and not the character. Like, I think that's why people have such a weird understanding of Jax in Amazing Digital Circus, because all they hear is Michael. So when Jax was being an asshole, they were like, oh my god, how could he do this? I mean, no, he's such a sweet little boy. How could Jax be so mean? It's like, oh, it's because Michael is, say it with me, an actor. He pretends as a job. Because you were in a pilot with Michael Karlovich once before his has-been days, yeah. I think his performance as Angel Dust skyrocketed him into popularity. It's like, Michael, I don't think your career can ever recover from this. Send him an email, see if he would appear in one of your videos. He never responded. Oh no. That's why before I even announce a project to my audience, I want to build trust with the audience, you know? I want them to want the same things I want. Which is why I keep talking about my stories without really working on them all that much. Because I want people to go, oh, you've mentioned this. What is it? But I understand that's probably not the best business practice. But also, I haven't finished any of the scripting for these animated projects because I've been busy working on comics. Because I can do that by myself. I can't do a fully realized animated show done the way I want it to be done by myself. We need to go the way of the Markiplier. We need to start our own YouTube channel, then do something like A Date with Markiplier, and then Who Killed Markiplier, and then Heist with Markiplier, In Space with Markiplier, and then agree to be a part of a podcast web series that is turned into a TV show, Edge of Sleep. And then you can finally afford to make your own little movie that's 2 hours long and is beating out even the biggest of corporations in the box office. And then people will demand more. To basically have the audience do like a film theory video. Oh, absolutely. It was my dream at one point to have film theory to do a video on one of my creations. It's like, hello internet, welcome to Game Theory, and today we're going to be talking about this little unknown animation called Gatesville. I know that's not how they do their intros anymore, but oh, it was the dream. I also had like it would be so cool if Cinema Therapy did a video on some of my stories because I deal a lot with mental health. It's like, oh, can you imagine if Cinema Therapy talked about my story? But it's like, you have to make the story first, you idiot. People can't make theories about it if you don't give them you gotta throw them a bone. You gotta give the dog a bone before the old man comes rolling home. That is such an old reference. No, I doubt anyone would understand that. Get the audience that's here for you and your projects. Exactly. Do the sim yourself for April Fool. I had thought of that. I hate April Fools, but it would be funny to make my own. Like, I thought of making my own folklore videos talking about certain aspects of my other stories as if I was, like, doing a documentary on, like, on this world that the story existed in. It's like, oh, that would be so cool. I would make, like, especially one of my series is, like, prehistoric times, so I would be really cool to make my own, like, Walking with Dinosaurs video on my own world to help advertise and explain some of the world building. Oh, it'd be so cool. Instead of just me going, it's like, okay guys, here's my story. So, it follows these two characters, but not really, because they're not introduced at the beginning. You know, instead of me fumbling over my words, just make a fake documentary about this whole new planet. Because instead of, like, info dumping in the story, I think what I'm gonna do, just to free up space in the book for the pages, or whatever medium the story decides to be, I'll create a, like, a traveler's guide to that world. Now, I know making, projects, a multimedia project is putting a lot of expectation on the audience to do their own homework just to understand the world. But I think the way I can get around that is just make the traveler's guide to this alien planet, just make it cover extracurricular stuff that just elevates the written text. Not explains it, but elevates it. Like, in the story, say they're walking through the ruins of an old battlefield, that it doesn't really add much to the story, because, like, they're just walking through and there's stuff in the background. You're like, oh my god, what happened here? And then in the field guide, we can talk about how that's actually an ancient burial ground because of these artifacts that were found there. See, not adding... The story can exist by itself in its own little bubble, but if people want to, they can go read the field guide, the glossary, the chronicles of the other families, and it all ties together so you get, like, the full picture. There is a fine line you gotta walk with that type of storytelling, because you have to make sure each piece can stand on its own, but still complement each other. That's the issue I'm trying to walk with several stories, because there's so much I want to talk about with this story, and they all connect to each other eventually in some way. So, like, what do? I guess I could Lord of the Rings this, where you write the one story, like you write The Hobbit, and then you write Lord of the Rings, and while you're writing Lord of the Rings, you work on the Silmarillion. Like, you can enjoy Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit without... You can enjoy Lord of the Rings without reading The Hobbit, because they pretty much summarize The Hobbit in Lord of the Rings. And you can enjoy both stories without reading the Silmarillion. But if you read the Silmarillion along with The Hobbit and Lord of the Rings, you get the full context of why certain actions by certain characters mattered so much more than they already did. Like when Galadriel gave Gimli, that this didn't happen in the movie, it happened in the extended edition and it happened in the book. When Gimli asked Galadriel for 3 strands of her hair, or a strand of hair, he asked for 1 strand of hair to tie into his beard. She gave him 3, so he could carry a part of her with him on his journeys. That's like, that's kind of a weird thing to ask. Well, for a dwarf, it's customary that they braid in the hairs into their beards of people that matter to them. That's dwarven culture. You learn that in the Silmarillion. You also learn that Galadriel knew Melkor, who has some connection to Saruman. I don't know if he is Saruman. I haven't read the Silmarillion. I just know this fact. He asked Galadriel for her hair because it carried some blessing with it, because she's part of, like, the old race. She refused him. So for Galadriel to give Gimli, a dwarf, 3 strands of her hair, it means how good of a person Gimli was, that she wouldn't even give one of her fellow elves that blessing. See, in The Lord of the Rings, you don't really need to know that fact. It's just like, oh, that's kind of cute that she did that. And then you read the Silmarillion, it's like, oh no, she didn't. It's just funny. But it's like, they say it's a bad idea to give your audience extra homework that they have to do in order to understand the text. But at the same time, I want the kind of audience that is willing to go look for extra lore, to search for that extra knowledge. I want the audience that is willing to do the study, to put in the work, to put in the mind power. So general audiences aren't gonna care. They got the attention span of 14 seconds. 14 seconds that they can have the attention span. But I want the audience that has a longer attention span, that is willing to put in the long game, that is willing to sift through, look for context clues. But those people are few and far between. So annoying. Yeah. I'm gonna save, because it's been a while. What's your take on the Five Nights at Freddy's movie 2, if you've seen it? I have not seen it yet. Sorry, I didn't get to your question. I was ranting. I haven't seen it yet. I've heard not a lot of people liked it, which is unfortunate, because I did enjoy the first one. I enjoyed the first film. I just wished it was scarier. You know, like a horror film. With the few drops. You know, see, I'm a FNAF fan. I love having to read between the lines. Now, looking through the source codes of websites, that's a bit too much for me. I mean, I'll let the nerds deal with that. You know, the nerds. But that's still cool that it's there. Like, Poppy Playtime is doing an ARG with PNGs and film packets and the VHS tapes that they're putting out. That's cool that Poppy Playtime is doing that. I just hate the game. The game is ass, but the lore is fantastic. I am gonna do a quick bathroom break. BRB? Because I've been drinking a lot of caffeine, so. I wish there was a way I could hang a little, I just put a little thing. to help me talk to chat more so I know to look at the webcam, I put a little crocheted turtle that my sister made me on top of the webcam, so when I'm talking to chat, I'm talking to the little turtle. Just have it on top of the camera. Have fun with that tidbit of knowledge. I don't want to look too washed out on camera. I just want to know if this will look bad. Like, how bad is this gonna look? If I... If I do this instead with... Okay, I'm not washed out, but everything is yellow now. Ugh. Everything is yellow. It's nasty. No. We're not doing that. So much better. Yes. Yes, that is much appreciated. Yes, you can't really see. Like, my hair doesn't look as shiny anymore. But... Yellow AI Oh, no. No. That's why see, I didn't buy this cheap $30 2K webcam because I'm broke. No. I bought the purposefully bad filter so you know now, since my streams are so low quality, it's not AI. Because if it was like 10K looking like plastic bullshit, it's AI. Or at least has an AI filter on it. Now you know there's no AI on this channel. Look at how grainy my face is. As soon as that light bulb burns out, I'm getting rid of it. Why is it yellow? Why? Oh, I forgot to... Oops. are all the little kittens yelling at him. It's not because I'm broke at all. I mean, I could have gotten the 4K webcam, but it was twice as expensive. And by twice as expensive, I mean $60. And it does exactly the same thing. It was just 4K instead of 2K. I was like, you know what, I got just a bare minimum for now. Just for now. I was like, you know what? I'd be spending more money if I slowly work my way up the quality instead of just buying the one to begin with. However, I don't exactly have the extra funds to be making those kinds of purchases. Oh well. No, she's not that tall. Hey, Waffles, back from the dead. Back from the ether. You know, because I have a webcam, I could finally try the Lego trick. Have you guys seen that? Where they put, they build out a piece of platform that sits on top of the webcam and have just like a little Lego guy floating about this far away from the camera, so it looks like he's just a person sitting there. Or I could tape a piece of paper on a stick out to here so it looks like I'm sitting there. Like, fake green screen. I could put a picture of, like, Anne Hathaway that's sitting, like it's her on my stream. Oh my god. I haven't tried it yet because I only just now remembered that trick. Where is it there? What? Heads up, we've detected audio in your... Was probably my intro. God damn it. I'll just mute that bit as soon as I'm off stream. Since your stream may be temporarily blocked. If you plan to continue, please ensure the content owner, the manager channel. Like, am I still live, guys? Is that not the issue? Oh my god. That is very annoying. Okay, I'm still here, so that's not... But as soon as I end stream, I'm gonna have to go take care of that. God dang it. It's fine on Twitch, but on YouTube, they seem to think the copyright-free music I'm using isn't copyright-free. But then when I use YouTube's copyright-free music on Twitch, Twitch says it's not copyright-free because someone else used that audio in their video, which then they copyright protect. There's no winning. Do we want to just sit here in silence? With no music in the background? Is that what we want? YouTube, do you think that's what the people want? More rabid about copyright law than Japan, I swear to God. Well, whatever. Not like I was gonna make much money from these live streams anyway. Channel's not even monetized. Because you need 500 subscribers and over 3,000 watch hours. So if you'd like to support this channel and ensure that these videos and streams like these keep happening, why not subscribe? And like, comment, share. I have a Ko-fi link. Even $1 helps. Oh my god. Anytime I have to do that for a video or for a stream, honestly, just imagine a gun pointed at my head when after I say, please be sure to like and subscribe. They're demanding that we are here. We are not being held against our will. We are being well taken care of. We are happy to be here. Please, do as they say. I know they would never allow it, but if I had a sponsored like, if I did get a sponsorship on YouTube, it's gonna start with me. It's gonna start with me in a room with a light on, with my hands tied behind my back, with a bag over my head. And then someone just takes it off with a light, and then they hand me a script with a gun off camera, and I'm like, today's video is sponsored by Squarespace, the all-in-one like website building machine that helps you start your channel, your product today. Like, talk about the QR code. Mention the promo code. If you use code just for 10% off your next purchase, I want to see my family. They'd never approve of that. But just imagine that's going on in my head every time I have to say click like and subscribe. Give money or else, thank you. No, that's the wrong one. There we go. One thing I will promise, and this is I had a first draft of a content creator contract between me and the audience, and in that contract, I'd be saying I'd never accept a sponsorship from a product that I hadn't researched myself. And I would make sure that the company isn't scamming people. Like, I'd never accept a BetterHelp sponsorship because it's a scam. And never will I ever shill NFTs or Bitcoin or any sort of cryptocurrency, because that is all stupid and never works out well for anyone, and they're scams. Where you can build these challenges levels, you can build pretty much anything. I mean, let's protect the story, put it online Steam Workshop. Guess what? Oh boy. Some guy with over a million subscribers played in a video. About 40k people have seen my map. And just see every single mistake and stupid decision in it. I'm horrified. The conundrum of being creative. We are trapped between the desire to be witnessed and the desire to be left alone. I just botched that quote so horribly, but there is a quote that I've read that says artists are trapped between the urge to be understood and the urge to be left alone, or something like that. It was like, we as artists, we want people to see our work, but at the same time, oh my god, don't look at it. That's what I was talking about in my face reveal video. I was talking about how I wanted to be seen and to connect to people, but I also was so terrified of people even looking at me. Which is why having this webcam and making that step is kind of a big deal for me. So nobody make fun of me. Trust me, whatever you say about me on camera, I've already thought about myself. Just don't confirm my fears, please. Good side, though, of having a webcam for these streams now, I can wear funny hats. And people would know about it. We could have Fedora Friday. I just threw up a little bit in my mouth just saying that. We aren't doing that. Yeah, no, we're not doing that. We ain't doing that. No, we're not cosplaying as Discord mods in this channel. Even though I do have a fedora, it's white. I'm just saying that's giving me chest pain. However, I also do have a few other hats that are pretty cool. Not the fedora. That would be a fun, Halloween costume. Just, you know, milady. Or an April Fool's Day stream where No, I don't wanna even pretend. Discord kittens! No! I don't wanna have to pretend to eat a diaper. I don't want that. I'd rather die. I don't want that in my digital footprint. If you know, you know. I think the fact that me even mentioning the fact that I have a fedora is enough of a digital footprint for people to go, oh, say. Yeah. Alright, we'll stop. We'll stop. That is the wrong paw entirely. Having so much trouble. There we go. That's just at least slightly better. I also do have a few fun little sunglasses just next to my desk. Especially these. Y'all remember these? Oh, you can't even see. They have the lines through them. They're the YOLO swag. Glasses from way back in the mid-2000s. And yes, I can see out of these. I don't know why I have them right next to my desk. I just thought it'd be funny. Why is the line art for this page taking me so damn long? I've been here for 3 years. Literally only almost 2 hours. There we go. Did I just kill the chat with that last comment? Well, I deserved it if so. It's still here. I've never played Sims, but do you ever, like, join a conversation or make a comment and you can just feel, like, like the negative pointing, like appearing above your head of, like, conversation points, just going dink, dink, dink. Because that has happened to me so many times where I would be, like, viewing a chat box or, like, a Discord group, and I'd just be, like, lurking, just passively watching, not engaging, and then it's like, ba-ding, 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 people are talking, people are adding at each other, 3 conversations are going on all at once, people are posting art, and then as soon as I, like, made a comment, I didn't say anything, like, unkosher, I would just, like, add to the conversation, and then radio silence. It's like, I just felt everyone leave the chat. It's like, oh. That's happened to me several times in real life. There'd be a conversation, I'd finally join in, it'd die. It's like, was it something I said? Or people would be talking, and then I'd appear, and then they'd suddenly be like... And of course, I'd be like, huh, that's weird, but now, me thinking back on it, I was like, now I know y'all weren't talking about me. Because A, I don't even know you people. And B, y'all were just working off of my homework, like, 2 periods ago. Do you think you have a right to talk shit about me when I'm the reason you have a good grade? I'm the reason you're still on the volleyball team, you dumb... Can't say that word on the internet? Yeah, but I was just so starved for any sort of interaction, even if people were actively using me. I'd deal with it because, hey, at least they're talking to me, right? We're friends, right? It's not that I didn't know what people were doing, because a part of me feels like I already knew. Like, I did know what people were doing. I just didn't care. Because I was just so starved for interaction and companionship, I'd willingly put up with almost anything. Which explains so much about why my mental state is the way it is. Because now, I try not to put up with shit, but at the same time, I feel guilty about standing up or speaking out against things, because then I'm immediately shut down. And then, you know, what's the point of speaking up if people are just gonna ignore you anyway? Sorry to bring the mood down, but that's kind of story of my life. But then I know if I disappeared for like a day and then come back, people would be like, "Oh my god, I'm so glad you're back. We didn't understand anything that was going on in class yesterday. Here's all yesterday's homework. Can you help me?" Now, me would be like, "Oh, now you want my help. Well, I'll help you, but it's gonna cost ya." And give them the wrong answers anyway. But no, my autism was all about being, you know, accurate, having accurate information. And it was like a really small school, so if anyone found out that I had intentionally screwed someone over by them working off my paper, I couldn't avoid those people. And then I'd get ostracized by my peers, probably get beat up. I don't know if they would have beat me up. They would have just harassed me. Maybe if they screwed up bad enough and got cut from the team. Oh yeah, I would be the one getting in trouble, even though they're the ones who didn't pay attention in class and got the bad grade because they weren't paying, because they were basically cheating. I would be the one getting in trouble because they lost a teammate. And now we can't go to states! Don't you know how important that is? And be like, it's important that she knows how to do her own work. Has my art style changed? I feel like my art style made a definite change after working on that animatic. Definitely my backgrounds have changed, because I do the backgrounds in the comic now the same way I did in the animation, which was grayscale and then add a color overlay on top of it. So the process has changed, but I don't know if like the line art style has changed. Just a part of me feels like it has, but another part of me feels like it hasn't. Like I've kind of plateaued when it comes to line art. I'm not sure. That's one bad thing I can think about. You know, I can think of going to a small school. Because when one person has bad grades, that's it. You don't have a full team. Like, we played 8-man football because that's basically all we had. So if anyone was getting if any athlete had lower grades, they got so much extra attention because if they had low grades, they couldn't play. Them's the rules. You would be ineligible, and then the team could not compete. Even if you won that game, if it found out that they played, ineligible players based on state law, the team got disqualified. So if you were an athlete, you already got like extra attention from the teachers, you got extra tutoring, you got more like adults cheering you on. If you weren't in sports, and this goes to like every school, but if you're not in sports, they didn't really care about you. Or if you weren't one of the AP kids. But my school was so small, we didn't have AP. So I was just the smart one that the athletes, that my classmates knew about. They're like, okay, I need my grades up. And I guess I had this ability to explain things in layman's terms. So they could just sit in class just to get the attendance points, and then they'd ask me later, so what was all that about? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Black Kit is bigger than Rock Kit, but Rain Kit is taller? No, Bark Kit is the biggest. But is he... I know, I think they're the same height. Yeah. Oh well. Old memories. All that matters. Ugh. I had to sneeze, but then it just wasn't coming. That is very annoying. His head's too tall. Let me just move that down. There we go. Okay, I have this. And then one more frame to do for line art, and I think we might end it there. For the strum. Because it is 2 o'clock. And I should probably have something to eat. Oh my god, there we go. No. Oh my goodness, I didn't even... Darn it! There's like no sketch here for me to work from. So we're gonna save real quick. And drink. Oh well. Sorry, my stomach. Ow. I think, going back to my socially awkward conversation, I think most of my social awkwardness doesn't come from me not understanding what's going on. Because I clearly do, it's just I don't know how to respond to those situations. I'm like, do I call them out for it? Do I pretend like it didn't happen? Do I just stand here and just stare at them until my brain can buffer long enough for me to figure out what to say, or should I even say anything? So that's where a lot of my social awkwardness comes from. Because I just legit don't know how to respond. Because I can think of 3 ways to respond, but I always weigh the consequences. Or at least I try to. Sometimes I'll say some shit and be like, oh, wow, here we go, here comes an argument. I thought we were on the level. Turns out we're not. I was like, if someone's doing something that is annoying me, what can I say that would make them stop immediately? You know, or what can I say that'll make them understand that they shouldn't be doing that? And I always think, it was like, what can I say that'll make this stop right now? Like, one and done, boom. But that's the thing. That's not how it happens a lot of the time. Because you can't just say, you're being annoying. Stop. You're annoying me. Because then if people are like, oh, you find this annoying? Well, let's do it even more then. Because that's a lot. I grew up with so many people like that. So now when I'm faced with someone doing something annoying or doing something that's just disrupting everyone else, I just let them do it. Even though I would love for them to stop. I just don't want an argument. I was taught from a very, very young age, due to unfortunate circumstances, where if you say what you're actually feeling, people will take advantage of that. And then if you do anything about it physically, guess what? Now you're in trouble. I'm the one in trouble even though they were being the asshole. This isn't a am I the asshole situation. This is a they were the asshole, but now I'm in trouble. But is that really a good... Is that something I can say while I testify in court? Because I always think of, like, if I do anything physically towards someone who is being annoying and disruptive and, you know, all those kinds of things, am I willing to waste my time fighting a lawsuit because they sued me for whatever bullshit? And most of the time, the answer is, no, I don't have time for that. I don't want to deal with that. I can't afford a lawyer. And I don't feel like having to represent myself in court against someone who's clearly an entitled brat. So, I'll just sit here, be annoyed, and then hope someone else can do, so it steps up and does something. Because if I do it, I don't want to get in trouble. So unfortunately, that's my mentality. Oh my god. Which is why I love streaming so much. Because when someone is doing something annoying, you can just leave chat. You can just leave. You can literally just Alt F4 out the conversation, and then you don't have to think about them again. Yeah, you can be a little bit annoyed about it for the rest of the day, and then, like, or if someone's being annoying in chat, you can put them in timeout for a little bit. There are still consequences to what you say and how you conduct yourself online. That hasn't gone away, but I think I can deal with those types of consequences, because then people will just say, oh, well, she's just being a meanie bobini. It's like, well, you were being a dick. Or you just mentioned a meme and I timed you out and it was funny. And of course there's no hard feelings. There's no hard feelings. Not from my end, at least. No hard feelings. But then again, I watch streamers whose sense of humor is someone calls you out or says something annoying. It's like, mods, ban that guy. Clearly a joke. Or one mod will ban you, and then you're immediately unbanned because, haha, funny. It was a funny moment. I don't want to come off like I'm saying that the internet is better than IRL interaction because you can just leave, but at the same time, the internet, you know, that's part of the appeal of the internet, because you can just leave the conversation. You don't have to engage, which is so funny to someone when people join these chat rooms just to get mad, just to argue with people, and there's people just arguing in the comments saying, oh, no, you're a poop head. It's like, no, you're a dookie face, and be like, okay, so these are the kinds of people in real life that have a panic attack if they need to ask for extra ketchup. You know? Meanwhile, in real life, I'm the kind of person that has a panic attack anytime I have to make any sort of doctor's appointment, so I don't. But on the internet, I'm like, man, shut the fuck up. But that's just kind of how it is. That is not the face I want her to make. That is, in fact, the opposite of the face I want her to make. What happened? I was yapping, that's what happened. I think it's also the mouth that's bothering me. There we go. Rainy days ahead? Joy! Meanwhile, the other coast is drowning in snow. Ay, ay, ay. When in doubt, flip your canvas. Because, good golly, Miss Molly, what is going on here? Oh my yoy. Oh, I didn't realize I had actually. Her bottom lid was too curled. I didn't realize I had done that. That's why the expression looked so wrong. I am so sorry. I didn't mean to bump the mic. Also, the nose is all wrong. Here we go. I guess another thing that makes internet conversations and interactions more fun, at least on my mind, than in IRL, because instead of having to formulate a coherent response half the time, you can just send a meme, and it's just the most accurate response you can come up with. Like, if someone says something, and instead of staring at them like this, you could just send the meme damn bro, got the whole squad laughing. Or my personal favorite, the Donkey Kong rap, that it's not funny, didn't laugh. I prefer not to speak. Or you could just not respond, and then people would be like, oh, I guess they logged off. Instead of just having to stare at that person awkwardly while you're trying to think of a response, instead of just saying, visually trying to describe a Wojak meme or whatever. But then again, I guess my autistic stare is a valuable weapon if someone says something off color, and then I can just stare at them like, until they do and then go talk to someone else and be like, haha, yes, I won. But given the fact that I have the neurodivergency, I have a problem with maintaining eye contact, because it makes me very uncomfortable. For some people, not maintaining eye contact makes them uncomfortable. It's like, why? Anyway. People are hard. It's not that the internet has ruined my people skills or my ability to socialize. I was already shit at socializing. It's just with the internet, I just found my preferred way of socializing. You know, because, like, with a live stream, I can maintain full conversations with people, like, in the chat and not get interrupted. I can finally say a full sentence without someone else cutting in. And yes, I interrupt too. I will apologize for that. I just get it, especially if we're talking about something I'm excited about, because then I want to add to the conversation as fast as possible. But it's like, no. You just sit there and do until it's your turn. But then I'm just sitting there like, and then I'm left out of the conversation completely. Or I'll start to say that sentence like 3 times, and then someone else cut in on top of me. Be like, because I hate being interrupted, so I'll stop when someone else is talking. Because I hate talking over people. Which is why I can't watch any of the live streams that the House of Representatives, host when they're having their discussions, because it's just a bunch of adults acting like toddlers, talking over each other. I'm just... You're not talking about dinosaur facts. There's no need to be interrupting each other. Because all you want to do is you just want to prove your point and not actually engage in the conversation, which is a back and forth. Here's my point of view, here's my point of view. Here's the evidence to sustain my point of view, here's some contradictory evidence. Well, let's talk about that, and let's come to an understanding. They don't want to do that. They're just... Anyway. medically, I have no right to say I have autism because I have not been officially diagnosed by a trained professional. But I have been made fun of for it, for having it, my entire life. I don't know why, since I know if I go to a doctor, it's probably going to take them 10 years just to give me a diagnosis. When my 5th grade bully did it in 10 seconds. Of course, we didn't know what the word autism was back then. But I was made fun of for having all of the autistic traits. So, yeah. But let's be honest here. When you're a child, if it's a feature you have, you're gonna be made fun of for it. Even if it's a good thing. Like, when you're ugly, you're gonna be made fun of for being ugly. When you're pretty, you're gonna be made fun of for being pretty, and then being shallow, and then being an idiot, or, you know, shit like that. So it honestly doesn't matter, although oh my god. Pretty privilege is a thing. There's no ugly privilege. Although there kind of is ugly privilege. Because, I don't know. Because I'm of the belief, if you're gonna make fun of someone for something, make fun of them for something they chose. Because if you're gonna make fun of someone for something they didn't choose, well then you're just being a bigot. But if they did choose that, then you can say, hey, you're an idiot. But that's just my toxic take on it. Just don't make fun of people. I mean, make fun of people, because by all means, I mean, it's good for you. Just do it with class. Do it with style. Do it with humor. Because then it's like, people can't even argue with it. Like, I'm a Five Nights at Freddy's fan. I fully understand when people are just clowning and just... That franchise is getting cooked to oblivion by the internet. And I can't even argue with them because low-key they're right. Not even low-key, high-key they're right. So it's like, ugh, I just gotta sit there and take it. And it teaches you to just, you know what? Pick and choose your battles. Know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Or something like that. I'm not condoning the act of harassing people and bullying. I am not condoning bullying in any way, shape, or form. I am just saying, verbal teasing isn't bad for you, even though I did just spend the past few minutes talking about how, you know, being teased affected me. There's no right way to say this. People are gonna make fun of you no matter what you do, or who you are, or how you are, so... So... I just think, I think specifically making fun of someone for something they didn't choose or can't control, that is just stupid. It's just plain old stupidity. But if someone chooses to go to school wearing like aqua socks and like a fedora and a trench coat with latex pants or something like that, then you can go like, ew. You can like, it's like, yeah, you're an idiot for that. You say, oh no, we must accept people as they are. He weren't born with the galoshes on. Discord mods aren't born that way. We can make fun of them for being irredeemable people. Same with Reddit mods. They weren't born that way. We can make fun of them for choosing to be the way they are. Because they're just bad people. No, but not all Discord mods. Well, enough to be a statistic. I should probably get off this conversation before I say something that'll get me canceled in 11 years. That's an oddly specific number. And before I say something that'll get me canceled when I get popular. If I get popular. That is one thing I do fear about the internet, is having everything I say taken out of context. But the media has been doing that to presidents and other politicians for years. Stream unavailable. Well, fuck.